Sorry, I was just doing my work on the computer. But thank you. But welcome to the Global Gag. Please share your location or Twitter handle and chat along with us. Any questions you have, I will gladly answer them. I beg of you. Subscribe to your YouTube channel for future events. Enjoy the show!
Hello, welcome. I am here today joined with the amazing Rachel, but if you don't know, I am Amber Trout. I am the leader for GEG Colorado, and I also am helping out with a lot of this, working with all these great, wonderful people in the GEG Global team. So Rachel is here today to show us some amazing things with Jamboard. I've seen one of her sessions before, and she has some really good innovative ways to use Jamboard, so you're going to be pleasantly surprised today. So take it away on introducing yourself, Rachel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel. I'm the lead teacher for technology and learning at Leo Academy Trust. I'm also a Google certified trainer and innovator. And, it's one of these things that I'm so excited about this session that I get so nervous. So I do apologize. I've noticed recently that every webinar that I do, I just become more excited at the start. So I just apologize.
That's how I am too. At the very beginning, like the first couple of minutes, I'm like so nervous. But then after a while, I'm like, oh, this is like talking with friends. We're good.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, Rachel's going to get started with Get Jamming with Jamboard today, and she has some amazing stuff to show you and share with you. If you didn't get it already, it's right here on the bottom. It's going to be the bit.ly to the notes that we're going to be using today and for the Jamboards that you're going to be using today. So make sure you get that bit.ly open and ready to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amber. So I'll just talk a little bit about Jamboard and how you actually get there and what it's all about. So for me, Jamboard is very much and always has been sort of that interactive whiteboard. A lot of teachers are so used to still using their smart notebooks or flip charts and sort of wanted to have a solution in place that was just more engaging, allowed for collaboration. So it wasn't just about one child coming up to the front of the classroom and drawing or annotating, but also that they were actually able to collaborate in real time. And you'll get an opportunity to do that. So please stick around. I'm going to demo and then you'll get an opportunity to get on. So if you've never used Jamboard before, you can always get there just simply by going to jamboard.google.com, and that will take you in here. And this is where you'll then see all of my Jamboards, but I can then go in and create a new one. Now, just in the means of today, I'm going to be using this one here, which is set up and ready to go. And one of the nice things that I will mention straight of all is that you do have the ability to add GIFs on if you are using the Jamboard app. So depending on what device you're accessing, and I want to give a huge shout out to Emma Pass for creating this fantastic explanation of the differences between the Jamboard app on Android or on iOS. I'm currently using the web version now, and just because I wanted to focus on that for this session, and then I will jump in to the end and jump in the app just so that you can see the difference between the two. But a lot of the features are very similar. I think the key thing just to sort of point out is that sort of works through all, and that's a big favorite, is that laser pointer. So regardless of whether you're on the web or iOS or the Android, you do have that laser pointer as well. And you've always got those drawing tools as well. So you can quickly go through, you can use a different color, and you can even highlight anything as well. So this is just a nice way as you're going through that you can actually talk through and explain the similar way that you would if you were in the classroom. And obviously for different teachers, some of you are back in school. In the UK, we've only got year 1 and 6 back. And we are still going until sort of mid-July. So it is sort of just being able to rethink the way that we use technology there. And you can also add in images as well as you go through. So you'll notice that on the left-hand side, you have a toolbar here with all of your different options. So you've got your eraser. So if you want to erase anything, you can go through and do that. The select, which just means that you can move anything around. And this is just done with a sticky note. So you've got sticky note on the side here. This just means, and I'll show you as I go through, and then you've got image and that laser pointer that I mentioned earlier. So just sort of moving on through. So I'm just going to show you some examples. And these actually were a brainstorm that came from Techie Leader Edu, which is the lovely Georgina, who suggested these brilliant 10 ideas of how you could use Jamboard. So I wanted to share this as a sort of like idea to sort of unpack what these actually look like and how it works. And I think what's really nice is that with any of these, so these are just Jamboards that I've saved as an image, but you can see there that I can drag and resize that there to sort of pull out an idea. So this is just being able to unpack an idea and explore it. For example, getting students to share and respond. So where they use a question and then they add sticky notes as they work their way through there. And again, I can just simply resize, pop it back. If I want to highlight anything, so for example, students can use Jamboard to share their learning about a topic, and I'll go into that one. Doing a quick data search. So you do have the maths grid reference, which I'll show you as well. Collaborative feedback. This actually came from Miss Norrie Science on Twitter when I was doing a quick Jamboard search. Always a great way for the PLN that's actually looking for how could I use an app? If you just search hashtag whatever the app is, you'll often find brilliant examples and a great way to sort of stretch and grow your PLN as well. And then breakout rooms as well. So being able to sort of get groups together that work on the same Jamboard, and I'll show you just how that looks as well. And then using it for teacher PD as well. So not just thinking, okay, yes, this is going to be my sort of interactive whiteboard replacement, but actually using this as a brainstorm for teacher PD. And I think one of the nice things about the collaborativeness in Jamboard is that you don't see anyone's names as they add anything. So this means that you can basically add thoughts, add ideas anonymously without sort of worrying about who's actually popping those down. And then a couple of other ones as well that you can see there. So I'm going to go into a nice little example here in terms of a wellbeing check-in. So this one's, for example, doing a little starter activity and saying, I've got that feeling, which emoji best describes how you feel about today and why? So you can simply go in, take a sticky note and say, I feel excited about tonight in the UK. I feel excited about tonight because I love Jammin with Jamboard. And then you can see at the top here that I do have some different colors. Also worth noting that for a while, I just thought that this one just erased it, but it's actually none. So when I tap on save, for those that maybe didn't know, that you can actually then just have a clear sticky note without any background color behind it. So this is a really nice way to be able to do that as well. So just sort of something, if you didn't know that one, that is definitely one to pull out and use. And also you can get your pupils to then go and do a quick image search and find an emoji that shows how they're feeling. So they can do a quick excited. I'm going to go with this one. Actually, I'm going to go that one. So I can then just pop that image in. And then again, if I want to, I can resize it and pop it on there. So this is a nice way to get your pupils to collaborate and share what they're doing as well. Now, I've been busy trying to learn Spanish. It's been sort of an ongoing thing, but during lockdown, this has been one thing that I've really tried to work on. So I thought, you know, for any language teachers out there, this is a really nice way. Just simply get an image, and then all you need to do is just set up your sticky notes for your pupils to then drag across. Now, if you're working with older pupils, then you probably don't even need to set up the labels. I would actually set this as a task for them to go and label the different parts. But because, I'm sort of based with younger learners, I actually prefer to set them up, because then it just becomes a very simple drag and drop. And they can easily just move these around the screen like this. So this is a nice way to be able to do that. And, again, I am learning. So if I do get anything wrong right now, I know I'll get in trouble. But I can just drag those across like so. So this is a nice little task that you can set up for your learners to do as well. And then just going through, another idea is to sort of do a new word of the day. And again, you could do this collaboratively. You could get you could just do this as a teacher delivering a lesson. And again, it's important to remember that with Jamboard, all you'd need to then do is to screen record or to go into a Google Meet, for example, and then record yourself. And this can then become your teaching lesson. So for example, I can go in, take a sticky note. So I'm going to go in with my word, which is going to be devoured. And then I can save that there. And then I'm going to continue. So eat with speed hungrily. And then again, just simply tap on save. And then I can pop that into a sentence. So the pizza was finished quickly because she had devoured it. And you can see there, and then all I need to do is just tap on cancel, and I can drag these across into the correct spot. And if I want to, again, I can just enlarge those to make it nice and easy to read. And again, I might go through and then use that laser pointer. So devoured is to eat with speed hungrily. The pizza was finished quickly because she had devoured it. And that's just to show you just an idea. You'll also notice that you have background up here. So you can actually change the background to your jams. So you've got sort of a dot one, which is nice for that old style game of dots drawers. You've also got ruled lines. So if you need to do anything there, you've also got your square grid reference and your graphing paper. And you've also got just a standard blue and black background as well. And it's sort of nice to sort of point out that on the black background, really nice to sort of just bring that aspect of sort of that blackboard in. And again, you can just say, for example, hello to everyone that's watching on YouTube. So that's just a nice little way there. So I'm just going to move on, and this is probably one of my favorites, and this is all about Equatio. So if you aren't using Equatio and you're a maths teacher or you teach math, then I definitely recommend going and installing it, and that is in your Bitly notes. So
Rachel,
all you need to do,
also,
yeah.
I know that teachers that in my building, at least, if you go to the text help and you can have the teacher version of it, it gives you Equatio and text help together for free.
Yes,
so
it does.
So if you go and look that up and say text help for educators, it gives you the Equatio app and that one for free, so teachers can have it as well. So thank you. All right, you can continue.
Okay. So in Equatio, you've got at the top up here. So what this will do, let's give it a second to come through. So you'll see that this brings up the Equatio toolbar at the bottom. And what I love to use is the math space. So what this allows you to do is to use 3D shapes. You've got fractions available. So if you go onto this one, more shapes, you can see here, you've got lots of things. We did an activity with some tangrams, but we actually separated them out individually. So you've got those in there that you can use. You've also got your base 10 blocks and sort of any 3D shapes you might be looking at. You've also got things like Venn diagrams that are ready there for you to use as well. So there is a lot in here. So I would recommend going through. Now, one of my favorites is obviously just using the simple fraction bar. With this, I can go through. If I want to sort of change the colors, I can do that as well. So this is just a nice way to be able to add those in. I can also go in and look at maybe a fraction circle and looking at the different sections within that. And again, just being able to sort of open that up and add that on to my Jamboard. So all I have to do is just simply insert this into a brand new Google Doc. Once that's added on, I then simply copy this over, and in my Jamboard now, I can just press Control V, and this will then paste it. So I'm not going to sort of go into too far, but obviously any mathematicians out there that love this will just be able to see the value. And I think one of the key things is with anything that you add in, you can obviously tweak it, change it. With something like tangrams, if you just cut and paste each shape individually when you're within the math space, this is how you can then allow pupils to interact. And I'll go into that a little bit on the next sort of part as I go through. So for example, I set this one up using sort of the hundreds, tens, and ones. And I just added each of these in individually. So I just copied them from the math space in Equatio there. And then I've just duplicated them. So for all of these, I can then drag them over. So for little learners, this just makes it so much easier. And to duplicate anything, you'll see that you've got the 3 dots there. And you can then just tap on duplicate. So this will allow you to quickly take them. So if you want to set things up for your class, this makes it so much easier to be able to do that as well. And then again, just as sort of another idea to take you into is to do a book talk. So get your pupils to add a photo of a book that they've been reading, and then use sticky notes to reflect and share why they've enjoyed it. And obviously doing this as a collaborative task means that other pupils then get to see sort of what interesting books they should be reading and new ideas as they go through. And then just another idea, so I mentioned this at the start, is that Jamboard is a great way for our learners to actually share and represent information, because they can go through, they can search for images. So I could actually go in and look for Nemo, and I can pop in an image of Nemo in here. I might also actually want to search for a clownfish. So it's not just about Nemo. So we can actually pop that in there as well. So you can see here just how easy it is to start to populate. And because the space makes it really easy to do that, you do have that ability to sort of resize and layer up those ideas. You can sort the ideas around. And so this is just a really nice way to be able to do that. And you've also got the zoom in option on the side here. So if you want to zoom out or zoom right in, so you're up nice and close, you can do this as well. And then again, just sort of going through a couple of other ideas. So this is again just another maths lesson here. Let me just come back to fit that on. So I'm just going to go to my selection tool here. So you can see here that this has just been taken from a worksheet. So it's not just about reinventing the wheel. So often I see posts of teachers saying, oh, but I can't take my flip charts and just reuse them. But you can. And I think one of the nice things in Jamboard is that once you then do that, you can actually go through and use your annotations to sort of talk through how I'd go about completing a maths problem. So this is a really nice way to be able to do that. And again, using those sticky notes as prompts for your learners as well. Again, another maths example here is just using a Venn diagram. Now, all I've done is just used an image of a Venn diagram, and I've set up the sticky notes in here. So again, I can then just simply drag and drop these across into my Venn diagram. So again, setting some of these up as templates is a really useful way to do it. One thing I will mention is that on the traffic lights in the top here, the 3 dots, you can actually download this entire jam as a PDF. So if you want to share out this at the end, so you've collected all the brilliant ideas, you can do that. And you can also save this individual frame as an image. So that will then download, and you can see here that if I wanted to then annotate or use this image in a jam within a jam, I could go and do that as well. So that's just a sort of nice idea there to be able to do as well. Again, just sort of showing you some sort of more ideas here. We often give our pupils a sort of story prompt and then ask them to sort of reflect on that story and think about what is actually going on. Again, this is a really nice way to quickly get them to lay out the template. Now, this template actually comes from the Android app where the templates are. So I'll show you once I get in, but it's just worth noting that obviously I could equally just set up a template and take a screenshot of it and copy and paste that in as well. So this is a really nice way to be able to do that. Again here, just a really quick one for a teacher is to talk about the prepositions. Give the pupils a photo, get them to go through and label and annotate where it is, and then mark up using sticky notes all the way around a Jamboard. Often we have pupils saying, like, you know, I have a worksheet or I want to be able to annotate and I can't do that. All it takes is just you to take a quick screenshot of it and then get them and throw it into a Jamboard, and they can then go in and quickly annotate it. So I think, you know, that's one of the key things. I know a couple of questions have come through in terms of how it differs from Padlet. I think one of the nice things about this is that you do have all of those drawing tools that you can use as you go through and that collaborative aspect as well. So again, this is just a very simple sort of idea of a English lesson. And again, just sort of looking at that one, I can re-enlarge it, so make it bigger there, and then I can go through and I might be highlighting any sort of errors in the mistake so that I want to sort of point out, so I can go through and do that. I might then ask the pupils to go through and make a list of all of the nouns or all of the adjectives, and they can use that sticky note option as well. And then just to sort of finish up with a couple of teacher ideas and some meeting ideas. So we've recently had our digital leaders work on a podcast with our friends at EduFuturists, and shout out to them. And just sort of one of the things that we got them to do was to actually collaborate on a Jamboard and share the sort of question prompts that they were going to go through on the podcast. So it makes it really easy. But also for a level team or a year team in a school, use Jamboard as your to-do list. It then means that teachers can easily say, yeah, I've finished those webinar slides. I'm already done. I'm working on that account creation, and they can continue to add new ideas as they go through. And then just to sort of think about, so how does this apply? How can I then use this in my classroom? So this can then be used in your classroom just in terms of when you set a task in classroom, you can either, if you're doing it individually, so maybe you've created almost like a little workbook for your pupils to go through, then you want to set it as make a copy for each student. And when you attach that Jamboard, that will then do this. If you want to work as a group, depending on your class size, we've got 30, so we would actually need to split it just so that we've got sort of a smaller number collaborating on, because you are limited to 20 jams per Jamboard. So you would obviously want to sort of split that up so it's a smaller number. But if you want them to collaborate so that they can work on the same Jamboard at once, then you just need to change it so that they can edit that file there. So you can see there, edit for collaboration, make a copy if it's an individual task as well. And you'll see here, I just gave a little top tip, is that if you sort of want to use small groups, then actually just individually select those pupils that you'd like to have access to that assignment, so that you don't just simply assign it to everyone in the class. And then the last little tip before I jump into the Android app is just to show you as well that if you're ever in a meeting and you want to have a quick collaborative way to gather ideas, if you've got a Jamboard open, then all you need to do is, first of all, change your sharing settings so that either anyone with a link or maybe anyone within your school domain can have edit access. Now, if you just want them to view the ideas and not collaborate, that's fine, leave it as view. And then all you need to do is, you'll see in the top right of my screen here that I just simply replace the URL where it says edit to copy. So this little tip here gives you that little trick. And then this will then take you to a window that looks like this. And then everyone that then goes to that URL will always be able to make a copy of that jam. So it's just a nice, quick little tip. That does work with docs, slides, sheets as well. So if you're ever using that, it does work not just in Jamboard, but just a really quick way to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my team behind the scenes to give access to the shareable Jamboards, and I'll come into that just now, and then I'll jump into the Jamboard app and start to talk you through. So in the notes at the moment, you'll have probably have seen this, hopefully. This is just sort of a quick recap. It's also where the session recording will be. There's also the Equatia extension that I mentioned. And then if you jump down to the second page, there are 4 groups set up. And the reason for that is because there are so many amazing people that have joined. So please don't all jump onto the one Jamboard, because we will get stuck and you won't be able to access it. So don't all go to group 1. You can go to group 2, group 3, group 4, and then just simply open up that activity and you can start to have a go. The first task is a grid view or list view. We always know there's a little bit of competition there, and we all know that, of course, grid view is the winner there. So I'm going to jump into the Jamboard app. Now, I'm on a Chromebook, so I will just sort of jump in here and just quickly show you. So one of the great things that sort of is a quick differ from the Jamboard app to the web app is that you can actually add files from your Google Drive. And you'll notice in here that I've got a slide deck, so I can actually then just drag and take any images out that I want to. So you can see I get the option to expand, and then I can go through and I can take a slide out of that slide deck and then drag and resize it. So this is one of the really nice things about it. And I can also then go through and annotate that slide deck as well. So I can keep that down in the bottom corner. But you'll notice that when I go into the drawing tools now, I also have the assistive drawing tools. So what this does is it means that rather than having that quickly add drive files down the bottom, I can actually rewrite that. And you'll see that that then turns it into written text that I can obviously then go and enlarge. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. So I can enlarge that. Also, if I want to sort of add any more text, I can go and do that. And again, I can just simply go in and drag that up to where I want it to go. But what's also really nice is you do have the shape tool. Now, I'm just going to come into a new slide here just to show you, because one of the things that often I find is that teachers will try and just use the pen to draw a straight line. Now, I don't know how good you are, but I've definitely never been an expert at drawing a straight line. So what I can actually do is I can go in and use the maths tool, and this will actually allow me to take, let's try that once more. I can take a line and create a really nice, perfect straight line, as you can see there. And you'll also see that I also have assistive drawing tools. So if you've ever seen Google's Auto Draw, this is actually built into Jamboard. So this means that I can actually start to create a book. And, well, it's not a very good book, because it hasn't, there we go. So you can see here that it will start to come up with predictions as I go through. What's also really nice about this then is that I can actually create almost infographics or information posters using those using the auto drawer as my icons within my information that I assign to my pupils as well. And you'll also see that when I use that plus sign down the bottom, I've got the images as you saw on the web, but I also have access to take a photo directly. I've also got those stickers. So for teachers, if they want to go through and sort of give a tick to an idea or star an idea, they can do that. So if you're on an Android or iOS device, install the Jamboard app, because this does give you a couple of extra options. You've even got things like a clock, which means that you can then go through and sort of enlarge that on there, and then you can go in and annotate as well. So this is just a really nice way to be able to do that. And possibly my favorite is that within the Drive content, I can go in and I can also add a GIF. Now, I came across this the other day and it blew my mind. So someone had actually put a GIF in of a timer. So you could give your pupils a sort of a quick 10-second GIF to sort of complete something. So it's a nice just little way to do that. So have a bit of a play. If you are on those collaborative jams, you can go in and add it. And obviously as well for a teacher, I can go in to my Drive and I can add in any content that I might want to open up. So if I've been using a book, then I can go through and open that up. If I want to sort of do a volcano task, which I've been looking at here, I can expand this out. I can then pinch to enlarge, and then I can actually set that up. And then my pupils can then go through and they can then annotate as well. And you'll notice that I can then simply just drag and drop anything that I want to disappear. So I'm going to jump into the collaborative jams now. Hopefully you're all on. If you haven't, let's just reload that one. I think I could potentially be on one that's actually stopped. Here we go. Give it a second. So we've already seen that some of you have started to go on in terms of grid view, but feel free. The first one isn't the only one you need to go on to. So we can see here, I've just asked you to go and find some memes. You might like to use a GIF if you haven't already. And this just shows you that you can go through and work collaboratively. So we've got over 12 people on this one. If you do have the Equatio extension installed, then go and have a go. Remember, all you need to do is go into a brand new Google Doc, tap onto the insert math space, and then you can go in and search and create. You can also, obviously, if you're working with older pupils, you can go and use things like graphs. You can set in your sort of square root numbers and all of those as well. And you've also got STEM tools in here as well. So if you're doing anything with a periodic table, or if you're looking at sort of key areas in terms of the protractor or angles, or you want the clock, you can go and add those in as well there. And then just sort of taking you through a couple of ideas. So we can see here some people are pointing out and using those draw tools to sort of share their favorite tools. So if you're not on the Jamboard yet, make sure you jump on. For this one, then go in and use those sticky notes and go in and label the continents as you go through. It's really funny because I did this activity with some of my pupils recently, and they said, on my globe, miss, it says Oceania. Is it Australia, Australasia, or Oceania? So it's always funny when we look at maps and the continents in the world as well. And again here, this is a nice task. I think what's really nice about this is that every time I set it, it's always different. Some people go in and add images. Some people go and find sort of images on the web. Some people use sticky notes. Some people go and just use the draw tool. If you are a lover of Bitmoji, you can also just open up the Bitmoji extension and then just simply copy the image and paste that on. And then obviously just simply resize it and pop it on. I'm also a January birthday, so you can go through and do that. This is a nice little exit ticket idea. So what's really nice about this is you can think for sort of an end of a PD or end of a staff meeting or even the end of a lesson, and you want to find out what it is that your pupils have learnt. Now, you might decide to actually set this up in a way and you ask them to put their name on the sticky note if you want to find out who it is that's actually responded to that task. Or if you just want to anonymously, you just want to check in and see, do my pupils know what I've taught them during that lesson? So this is a really nice way. I can see here, drag and drops, post-it notes for emotional check-ins. I love it. Jamboard can be shared in Google Classroom. So brilliant takeaways there as well. Again, this is just sort of showing you that to-do list and how easy it is to drag and rearrange any of these ideas on that sticky note. You may even want to then go through and add in any images as well. So it's not just a boring sticky note, sticky note, sticky note. And, you know, again, think about how you can use this in your classroom. I've shared a couple of ideas, but I'm definitely, I've seen some really amazing ideas that have come through either on Twitter or that people have posted. I know my friend Kim Martina at the Sweet Talk is actually collating a lot of Jamboard resources. So if you have any fantastic ideas, then feel free to share them. Another one that's come about during distance learning is the idea of creating games in Jamboard. So I was at a baby shower a few weekends ago, and we did a sort of celebrity baby name matchup on Jamboard, where Kat had actually set up all of the sticky notes with the baby names, and we had to go through and match it up. And because it was done just on a meet call, that this is actually really fun and engaging. So you can think about the ways that you do this. You could obviously go in and add the images or the little Connect 4 tokens as they go in and actually set them up. Or obviously you can use that draw tool as well. And then a couple of other things is, just sort of sharing of ideas. If you're using the Jamboard app on your device, then you might like to go through and add some GIFs in, add some files from your drive, just so that you can experience what happens when you use it. Feel free as well. Often I don't say, but feel free to have a go at changing the background and have a go at using the different pens. If you're on the Jamboard app, then obviously go in and explore with the auto draw, because that is always a really fun one to get onto. I hope I'm okay for time. I'll just keep talking. So team at the back, if I am talking for too long.
No, you're good, Rachel. I think you're just blowing the minds of everybody right now. So I think you're good.
Okay, brilliant.
Have plenty of time.
Awesome. And then, brainstorming, Jamboard is fantastic for brainstorming. And it is worth noting that what's really nice about brainstorming in Jamboard, and especially if you use the app, and I am going to jump into the app just to show you, because what is really nice is that if I just open this one up here, actually, I'm going to go in with this one. I think this is my right one. She says... Yeah, perfect. So you can see here that this was actually from a training session that I did with apps events. And what's really nice here is that I can actually go through and I can take all of these and I can actually pinch to make it smaller. So suddenly that blossom of ideas, the whole range of ideas that you have, you don't need to worry then about space, because you can simply just shrink them down, and suddenly you have so much more space on your Jamboard. And that's obviously just in the Android app there. So this is a nice way. And then again, if there's anything that you want to take out, you can always think, oh, actually, I really liked that idea. So I'm going to pull that out and make that nice and big to highlight it and to make a big deal about it. And again, if I want to, I can use that laser pointer. And then just worth noting as well that you can always jump up using the squares at the top and jump to a specific slide as well. And you can also duplicate a slide. So if you want to sort of create your background and you think, actually, you know what, I want to have them all black, I can tap on the background in the Android app and then I can apply that to all. So that will then apply that same background to all of the slides. If I'm doing this through the web app, then all I need to do, so I'm just going to jump back to the web here. All I'd need to do there is simply set up. So for example, set up this one, or actually, let's go on this one here. Hide the toolbar there. I'd select the background. I'd say, actually, I want all of my slides in my Jam to be black. I can then go through and then all I need to do is just duplicate them. So that will allow you to then, it's a little bit of a workaround. It's not as good as the app, but it just means that you do have that option to do that if you want a specific background as you go through. So that's just something to sort of keep in mind as you go through. And, you know, it is sort of worth stopping and just to say that there are a couple of new features that are in the roadmap for Jamboard, which will include the ability to sort of lock content on there, as well as a couple of other things that are coming soon. So I'll just sort of stop there and then allow everyone to keep playing, but just check in and see if there's any questions.
I have a personal question.
All right, let's see what we have.
Can I ask my
Go off the chat.
Okay, so
Of course.
teachers, they have Equatio. We bought it for our district. Do you prefer the math space in Equatio or Jamboard?
In terms of,
Because like they're debating like, do I copy everything or just use the math space that it offers? So I wasn't sure which one you would suggest for teachers.
so I think if you've, like, the problem is that in Jamboard, you'd have to go in using the images and add them in. The maths shapes that you get in the Jamboard app. So for example, when I was showing those tools that are available in here, there's not actually that many maths tools in the assistive drawing tool section here. So it is quite limited, whereas Equatio has so many more tools available in there. So I definitely recommend using the Equatio math space.
Thank you.
Yes, Jamboard, I agree, Ms. Burhouse, that Jamboard is a cool tool. I think that there were so many things that you showed us that it's like mind-blowing that you can do all that stuff on Jamboard.
So I know
also,
someone's just said, can you show the laser pointer? So whether you're in the web or on the Android app, the laser pointer is exactly the same. It's just that one there. And again, I can just simply annotate through and that will then slowly disappear. So I can go through, highlight, and then it will slowly disappear.
oh my gosh, I wish we had Assistive Draw on the actual web version of it because that is like the best feature on the app. I watched your first session when you did this and I was like, what? You can do that?
But equally, like, you know, if you'd love to use that, then you can also go in just to auto draw and then simply just copy those drawings across. So I can go into auto draw. I can start drawing. I can go through, do a quick world image there, and then I can then just simply copy that across into Jamboard. So,
so good, Rachel. You're absolutely like a genius. So someone said, can you insert sound and video?
You can't insert sound and video. It would be amazing if you could. I definitely agree there. You could obviously go in and put a link in to something that you want them to access. Otherwise, definitely get around and submit feedback. Google are always really quick to respond to feedback in that sense. So,
yes. And then also, while you guys are here, give us some feedback for the Colorado GEG because we take this all down too. Rachel was so willing to be able to help out this GEG and do her presentation with us today. So we thank you for that because I know that we're not getting paid for any of this. This is all voluntary. And so thank you so much. And please use the feedback form there on the bottom to give us feedback for GEG Colorado as well. Another question though, how do you make templates so students don't delete items?
Yeah, so what I always do before any presentation or event is I always make a copy. So what I would always do before I go in deliver a session is I just tap on the traffic lights and I make a copy, and I then call this template and then Jammin with Jamboard. Now it's not going to stop pupils from obviously going through and deleting anything, but it just means that you do have that copy that you can always go back to. So this is a really nice way, especially if you think, oh, actually, I would really like to use that one again. Otherwise, if I go through now, for example, on the template that I've just done, it's going to have all of my sketches. It's going to have anything that I've added on, anything that I've moved, and I'd have to go through and move everything back, erase everything. So I definitely recommend making a copy before you do that.
Absolutely. Okay. Would you please show the laser and making it smaller again? Thank you.
No worries. So the laser pointer, in terms of how I actually shrink anything smaller, is all done through the Android app. So on the Android app, I have the move option is different. So this actually becomes a selector tool. So I can go through, I can circle through the content, and then I just simply pinch. So I'm pinching on my screen. I've got a touch screen device. So I can then pinch and resize those. So I could actually say, you know what, I want those there. And then the laser pointer is just here. So I can say, this one is all about accessibility.
Oh, that's so great. Because you have so many things sometimes that the kids are putting all on there, and having to move every single one of them is so time consuming. So that is so nice.
So I've just seen the question about the math space. So I'm going to jump into that. So all I do is I start with a brand new doc. You can always just get there just by typing docs.new. And then you open up your Equatio extension, and this will then appear at the bottom of your screen here. You can then go in to insert math space down the bottom. Give it a second, and then it will come up here. So you have shapes in here. Now, these are just your sort of basic shapes, but if you tap on the 3 dots here, this will expand out. You can use the search option, so this is a much faster way. Otherwise, you can go through the range of different shapes. What's also nice is if you're ever after a Venn diagram to use in Jamboard, then just go in and use the Venn diagram here. You don't have to do any work then. And, you know, obviously there are other things. There's scales, there's logic connectors. So if you're doing anything with coding there, you've also got your 3D shapes, number lines for younger learners, and you also have some symbols and shapes as well. And then in terms of things like fraction grids, then you can go in, for example, a fraction circle. You can then change the number of segments. So I could say I want this to be 10 segments with 3 shaded, and then I might go in again and I'm going to do a fraction bar this time. And for this one, I'm going to change it so we have 8 segments, and I'm going to go in with 6 shaded. And then all I have to do, I can obviously go and color code this if I want to. So we're doing purple today. So if I wanted to, I could obviously go through and change that there. Then all I need to do is insert in the top right. This will then appear in your Google Doc here. I can then tap onto it, Control C, or right click and copy, and then come into my Jamboard here. And then I can simply, I'm just going to clear this frame, is just press Control V. And that is now ready to go.
That's an awesome way to do it. I didn't even think about doing that.
And if I want to sort of set up lots of questions for my pupils, I could go in and say, this is question 1. And then I can go in and obviously set up a second one. And I can go through, I can resize that sticky note. So that's number 1 here. I can go through, set up number 2, and so on and so forth, and ask them to think about how they do that there.
Awesome. Can you put a Jamboard into a Google Slides presentation, Rachel?
No, you can't. You could export a Jam file. So, for example, if I'd set this up, maybe I'd gone in and said, hey, everyone, and added some images or added anything like highlighting that I wanted to sort of pop in. I could then save this as an image and then pop that into Google Slides, but I couldn't actually have this as a sort of working editable option within Slides. So I don't know if that was what they were after.
I think that's
right, but there was one other question that was coming up, and also that's seriously your handwriting. That is gorgeous. Okay. Also, I was commenting with someone in the chat just saying that I like to create sometimes images or things that become the image that I bring in and I use it as my background. But people were wondering, what is the dimension size if they want it to cover the full background in Jamboard? And I didn't know, is it the same as like if you auto make a slide? Is it a similar dimension size? I mean, I know
I'm not sure what dimension size it is. You've got me stumped there.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
didn't
if you Google it, someone
Okay,
will have
I'll
said
look,
it.
I'll look at it. I'll be in the background, but I was just wondering. Thanks, Rachel.
So you
You're
can
welcome.
do that then, right? Just add like a picture in the background that can't be changed by the students in a Jamboard as well.
So that's coming. It's
Okay.
on the roadmap. So there's no sort of indication as to when, but that's definitely coming with the ability to lock things so that pupils can then do anything over. I think sort of one thing to highlight is that, for example, if I just go in here, so for example, like my volcano one here, if I wanted to pull out anything or highlight anything on this here, you can see that that's not actually moving the template. The only way that this template would move is if I went to the mouse tool and was to drag it. So that's just the key thing to remember, that if your pupils are using a stylus and they're on the draw tool, that's not, it's not likely to happen. And, they'll be quick to sort of realize that anyway.
Right. Another question was, people are wondering where Jamboards are saved. Is it saved in the Google Drive?
They're just saved in Google Drive. So if I just go to drive.google.com, you'll see that at the top here, my Jamboards are here for me. So, and you can always create a brand new Jamboard just from tapping on New, More, and then Google Jamboard is here as well. I prefer to go in jamboard.google.com just because it's faster than going in via Drive.
Nice. People are just saying how they use it. Someone said about they're using Jamboard for virtual trainings, which is amazing. That's exactly what we should be doing right now, using this for everything that we're doing. Somebody's asking, what is Equatio? Can you just go over that one more time?
Yeah, so Equatio is a part of Text Help's extensions, Chrome extensions that they've got available. So they have a read and write extension that helps support all learners. They've got WriteQ, so Equatio, the maths one. And what it allows you to do is to actually create equations just simply by typing. So rather than having to sit there in a Google Doc and try and work out how to write a correct fraction, you can obviously go in, if you wanted to do a square number, you can go in and do that. And you've also got the handwriting recognition. So if you want to go through and sort of quickly do your numbers, you can go in and do that. You've also got speech recognition. So if you want to talk through your maths, then you can do that as well. And you've also got the ability to create this math space, which is where I am right now. And I can then go in and add shapes. I can also add sort of fraction shapes, which I showed earlier. And then also in here, under more shapes, there's things like coins, tangrams, pentominoes, pattern blocks, base 10, tens frames, etc. There's also number lines and Venn diagrams, etc. So if you haven't looked at it, it is in the bit.ly doc in here.
Make sure that you go to that link that we put in the chat there, because if you go to Text Help, they have free for teachers in the read write extension, Equatio, all of those things are free in the premium version for you if you just sign up with your school stuff, because that's what I did with our educators at my school. And so definitely, if you've never tried read and write, definitely check that out. It's one of my favorite tools. And Equatio has so many cool things, and you can get those for free. So check those out.
So I know that someone's just asked in the chat, and I apologize if I've missed anything that's sort of come through. The chat has just gone wild tonight. But I know that someone asked about the font size and sticky notes. So it actually bases it on how much text you are writing in. So you can see there that obviously if I start to type a lot, so this. And you can see the blue bar at the bottom. That actually tells you how much space you have on your sticky note before you run out. And then again, that will then just continue to resize based on how much space you have. But I know that in terms of the size, if you find it hard to read, obviously you can just simply go in and resize that to make it even bigger. And actually, if you want the opposite, if you want it really small, you can then go in and do that as well.
Awesome. Seriously, there's so many great things that's not even funny. So yes, look, you got some love right there. This training was awesome, someone said. So
Thank you.
thank you, Rachel. Anything else? Is there any other questions that we see? Anyone below me that is seeing anything? I think we answered all of them. I think you just had so much great stuff that they're just kind of comprehending it all. At least I am. I was learning along with you. No joke. I was sitting there and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Oh, that's a great idea. Said there's somebody having issues accessing templates for graphs. Oh,
I'm not sure what that's referring to. Is that within, I'm assuming that's within Equatio.
Probably, yes. I don't know. I don't know what that's referring to either. It just popped up on the screen. So, okay. Well, I think that is all we have today. If there's anything else, Rachel, that you would like to add in.
I'm just going to finish and say thank you all so much. So much love to my PLN that are out there. And, you know, just listening in. For those of you that haven't been on before, thank you for coming. And, you know, please use that bit.ly link to go back to. And I hope you have fun jamming with Jamboard.
Absolutely. We had fun jamming with you. So again, fill out that feedback form on the bottom there. Scrolling at the bottom, we always look for new ways to improve and do things and new trainings that we're looking to do. So we are so thankful to have Rachel here today. And thank you again for joining GEG Colorado today.
Thank you
All right.
at this global GEG event. You can watch this recording as many times as you want. Visit our website or Twitter for more information. Don't forget to join our Google group. Don't forget to fill out the feedback form. Thank you for joining us at this global GEG event.